Hello, hello, and welcome to the Finding the Unicorn in You podcast. What a beautiful day to inspire lives. My name is Jaime RAYGOZA, your host, and I am so excited to have you here. Let's get ready to meet some fantastic unicorns and learn how to unleash the inner unicorn in you. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Jaime RAYGOZA, and welcome to another episode of Finding the Unicorn in You. Today, I have a very spectacular individual. She is a professional drag entertainer who performs all over SoCal. She is a proud Latin queen who is known for her high energy, her dancing, and her stunts. Her main goal is to spread positivity, awareness, and to inspire her community. So without further ado, here's Jovani Morales, also known as the killer drag queen, Athena Kills.
Hello.
Hi, and welcome.
Hi, everybody. Nice to virtually meet you all. I'm excited to be here. I have been dying to get on another podcast since the first one I told you I did a year ago. Again, I love to talk. I am a Leo. But for anyone out there that's also Leo, you understand the struggle of just wanting your voice to be heard 24/7. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Boo.
Of course. And I think this is a perfect platform to do all the talking that you want. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what started you with your journey?
My drag journey started about 6.5 years ago. I had visited my first gay club, which was 340 in Pomona. I think it usually is every youngster's first gay outing. You know, it's one of the very few 18 and over clubs. So I had went, I think it was on a Friday night with some friends, not knowing there was a drag show. This was not only my first ever going out to a gay club, but my first drag experience in general.
Okay.
I didn't know there was a drag show. I didn't know what a drag show was, to be honest. So I was very surprised. I was kind of scared because I didn't know what to. I thought I was we're at the wrong place. I was like, what's going on? But I fell in love with it instantly. I just the craft and the music, the performance aspect of it. I've also always been in theater, being in musicals and plays in high school, and then I was in dance classes when I was little. Being on stage was always something that I loved to do. So seeing this, but in a gay way, just made my little heart so happy. I just got so invested into it. I started talking to the drag queens. Some of them were my friends that I didn't know that were doing it on the side. And the more I started just getting into it, the more I just fell in love with what it was. And just your freedom of expression to do what you want to do and call it your own. I thought it was so dope. So that first night, I would say I owe my entire drag career to, because it's what really made me want to do it to begin with. And then fast forward 4 months later, it should have been way longer because I would have looked so much better if I would have taken my time. But I was just so eager to get on that stage. 4 months later, I signed up for that same competition that they had, where amateurs can pretty much just put their name and then you perform. And if you win $100 and you come back for a final round and you compete for $1,000.
Nice.
So I was just doing it honestly just because I just wanted to do it. I didn't really ever expect to win, let alone be doing it professionally like how I am now. But that very first night that I signed up, it was a comedy night, and Jinx Monsoon was hosting.
Nice.
She was just coming back from her season of winning, and she was hosting the night. I put together some really stupid mix of me just being a fool, and I went out there. My wig fell off.
Oh no!
Not intentionally, but it was comedy night, so it kind of worked. I think people thought that it was. Looking back, it was probably not the best moment for me, but it worked. It worked. And somehow I won. I won the challenge. I won the night. First time performing ever. And it was still crazy to me because there was some really, really good queens that night too that have been doing it longer than I have. So that was the first time I was like, okay, wait, maybe I have a future in this, So ever since then, it kind of just took off.
Wow, what a first performance.
Okay, so stupid to think about. I was just acting a fool. Wig fell off. I think my heel broke mid-performance. You can probably still find it on YouTube, actually. Oh my god, I should not have said that.
How did Athena Kills come to play? So why Athena Kills?
Well, Athena Kills came from Athena, obviously mythology. Mythology is something I have always loved. And growing up and in high school, something that I studied in my AP history class and that I just fell in love with. So Athena is the goddess of wisdom. And when I chose this name, one, I thought the name was just really pretty. And I was like, oh, Athena sounds like a bad bitch. Athena, one, is just a beautiful name. And two, I chose it because I wanted one day, I was kind of looking to the future. And I said to myself, I want one day to be a queen that everybody can look up to, that is thought of as wise and kind of a drag mother to all kind of figure. That's kind of where I aspired to be one day. So I said, I'm going to be the goddess of wisdom because I want one day to be just full of wisdom and teach the children and just pass down my knowledge. So that's where Athena came from. And then the Kills came from my favorite artist of all time, Natalia Kills, who no longer goes by that name due to legal reasons, which is better for me because now I can trademark it. But at the time, she was like a really big artist in Europe, and she was getting all this clout for being like a Lady Gaga's doppelganger. She's really dope. You should look her up. She's kind of like a dark pop kind of style.
Okay.
Very poppy, very. She's written songs for a lot of people. She's a very creative individual. She's very artistic, and I pull some of my inspirations and drag from her. So that's where the Athena and the Kills came together.
I think that's a really cool combination of both. And
it's pretty random, right?
It's random, but it works. And when I heard it for the first time, I was like, that is a very catchy name. I love that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So kudos to you. I love it. I'm a big fan. So definitely. I've seen like all your videos. I've seen some of your performance live, and it's just, you do a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. I try to kill it every time.
Yes. I love that. I love that. I definitely, you're living up to the name for sure.
I try to. I hope so. Thank you.
So you mentioned a little bit about like a drag mom, a drag mother. So why don't you, for people who don't know those concepts, so how does that work? How does one become a drag mother or a drag daughter?
Yes. So in the drag world, much like in the ballroom world, we have drag families where you have somebody that you look up to as a drag mother, which is basically your mentor, somebody that takes you under their wing, teaches you the ropes. Historically, the one that puts you in makeup for your very first time and puts you in drag for your first time, that's who your drag mom actually is.
Oh, okay.
But I think over time, the rules have kind of changed. Now a drag mother can be anybody who just decides to give you their name, decides to take you under their wing. It's not necessarily like that specific. But in the drag world, it's somebody who takes you under their wing, teaches you the ropes, and puts you part of their drag house, usually by the same name, et cetera, et cetera. For example, I have 2 drag daughters that I consider close friends of mine that I have chosen to, one, carry my legacy as the Kills, and also just teach them what I know about the game and the drag world and what I've learned. And I try to teach them just, what I wish I would have learned when I first started. The do's and don'ts, what's proper drag etiquette at a drag show, how I became more booked, how to win competition, the basic thing, the logistics of it.
And that's amazing. And I think that especially with the community, you have to be tight. You need to have a family to be able to put you forward. And I would not even know the first thing to do. I think I would definitely need somebody to kind of like guide me and be like, you need to do this and that. This is proper drag. This is not proper drag. That's just, different.
There's so many rules. And it's a big, scary world. And you could have this idea of it one way. And if you don't really know what you're doing, you could be doing it totally wrong, but you never know because no one's really there to teach you, I didn't have anybody teaching me the role. I taught it all to myself. The first 4 years, there were like a trial and error of me, trying to straighten hair and buying outfits online and putting outfits together and putting mixes together and a lot of trial and error. But I think if I would have had a mother figure when I very first started to teach me a little bit more, that would have definitely helped me. I did end up getting one down the line when I was a little more established, but I still needed help. And she definitely did help me a lot. A lot. So I think I was just like, where were you 4 years ago? I was like, where were you 2 years ago?
Well, that's good. And so if you had to pick like the top 3 do's and don'ts of drag, what would they be?
When at a drag show, respect the queens. Typically, it's accepted to go to a drag show and just support. So that's another one. Drag queens, a lot of promoters, and especially a lot of the old school drag queens, that's a very old school drag way of thinking that I was told to by a lot of my like older drag peers, is to go to a gig if you want to be booked and you want to be in a show. A lot of people who have shows have been doing shows for a very long time will not book you if you have never even been to the show. So sometimes just showing up in drag is like a way of just saying, you know what, hey, look, I do drag, I'm here, I'm supporting your show. Put me in your show. It's a
Okay.
very old school way of thinking, but it's definitely something that's still accepted in the drag scene. So I would say go and support your local drag shows. And another do, just be kind. Just be
Mm-hmm.
kind. Kindness will get you so much further than kissing ass and being fake and all that superficial BS. Just be kind. Three don'ts. One, don't get caught up in your ego because you will get shot down very fast, as I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
and time and time again. Don't get caught up in your ego. Remember who you are. Be humble. That's all part of the same one. Another don't. Oh, don't get involved in any drama. Don't get involved. If you have an opinion, keep it to yourself. If it's, I always say, my name ain't Bennett, then I ain't in it. My good, my good sis Kendra Onyx taught me that. My big sis, she's my big drag sis. She taught me that very early on, and it's come in handy many times. If it has nothing to do with you, don't get caught in it because you will, sure enough, be found in a place you don't want to be in. And I've
Mm-hmm.
seen it happen time and time again, even with myself, where I've been involved, and I've seen queens get involved in drama, and it makes you look bad just for being involved, and it makes everybody look bad in a situation worse. So
Mm-hmm.
just name it, bait it, stay out of it. And I would say the third don't would be, oh my God, don't get too drunk at your own show.
That seems pretty simple, but it can be
It's
pretty
simple, but
tempting.
it's true. It's true. Be professional. Be professional. That's one of the biggest don'ts slash do's. Don't get too lit. Be professional. I've also been um, guilty of such. Maybe going a little bit further than I intended to with my drinking during a show or after a show. It is not looking the best. It's not a good image.
Think that can get very hard because like when I see drag shows, people are consistently buying people like buying the performers drinks. They're just like,
Yeah,
here, take a shot, or here's this, here's that. So I can see how that easily can go south.
yeah, it's hard. I mean, we're working the nightlife. We're working at bars. We're working at clubs. We're
Hmm.
working at places where everyone's drinking. Where you're expected to drink. You're buying shots for people who are doing birthdays and celebrations. You're doing toasts and you're encouraging them to drink. So naturally, you're going to want to have a drink,
Hmm.
or two, three, or four, and you're having fun. You're performing, entertaining after a show. It's okay to have a drink and relax and get to know the crowd and mingle and woohoo, but just keep it cute.
I know there's a lot of stereotypes that comes with drag performers. Some are good and some are bad and some are neutral. But if there are some that you would like to break, what would they be?
Stereotypes that I think a lot of drag artists are given, I think, is that we're lazy or that we don't
Mm.
really work. And I'm just saying this from my personal experience because I have a day job. So a lot of
Mm.
the times when my coworkers are like, oh well, you perform, why do you need the job? And sometimes I just say, oh yeah, I just like the extra income. They assume, oh, you must have be making like a lot of money. You'll see people in their Instagrams and posting their like the cash outs because they need rent and they need this and that. And the reality is, doing drag is hard. It's a lot
Yeah.
of money, and it's a lot of money to put in for outfits and wigs and makeup and heels. And sometimes we don't have it. And then we fall behind in life,
Hmm.
because we chose this career path. So we're looked at as lazy because we're asking for handouts and we're asking for help from our
Hmm.
community. But in reality, is like we're here to entertain solely because we're getting the money to do it. And I think that's the common misconception. We work hard, and it's a lot of work to be a drag queen and be a successful drag queen and be a working drag queen because you're constantly having to pull these new looks and new ideas and new performances, and all that takes money and work. And
Hmm.
I think people in general might just not realize that you know we need the income for that too, but it's a lot of work to keep it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think a lot of people don't understand that half of you don't just buy majority of these things. You're making these things. You're making a look, you're making a certain thing. And you can't sometimes you can reuse things, but a lot of the times there's different themes, there's different it's an artistry. So you
Correct.
can't just be using the same wig, the same outfit every single week.
Exactly. And then especially if you want to be somebody successful, like you get clocked for even wearing the same thing you've been wearing for like 4 or 5 months. Like
Oh
and
my
and
God.
then you look down on, and then your whole aesthetic just goes down, and it's a game you have to play.
Hmm.
But to play you need money. That's the reality. And sometimes the money's not always there. Sometimes we have shows and there's 3 people in the audience. and we make $10 in tips, and I'm here looking expensive as fuck,
Yeah.
literally in outfits that I paid, $600 for, and I'm making $5 in an audience, and that's the reality too.
Hmm.
It's a business, it's showbiz, but sometimes the funds just aren't there. It doesn't mean we're lazy. It's just it's hard. It's hard, and artists, I think, in general, get a bad rep for that. But we just want to create.
Hmm.
That's all we want to do.
Definitely, it is an artistry, and I do applaud for everything that you do and that all drag queens do because, or drag performers, I should say, because it's so much time and effort. And I've seen the details, I've seen the costumes, and it's amazing how much time and effort you're putting into it. I know right before the podcast you were saying that it can take anywhere from like an hour to like 3 or 4 hours just to get ready. So why don't you walk us a little bit through that process? Like how to like let's say you get a gig, when are you going to get ready? What's the process?
So, as I was saying earlier, I've gotten my makeup down to like an hour.
Hmm.
So if I really need to, I can beat out a whole face in a whole hour. But when I take my time, which I usually like to, I could do it in about an hour and a half. So I show up to a gig. The first thing I do is set up my station. I set up, you know, where my brush is gonna go. I have my hairspray, my mouthwash, my wig glue, my setting spray, and then I set up my brushes, my palettes over here, my mirror over here, my contact case, my lash case, my stone case in case I always have time to put a little stones underneath my eye. I have it there just in case, and I just start painting. I start painting, and it's usually running an hour, hour 15, hour 30 max. And then I usually take another 30 minutes to put on my body, which is my pads. I put on my 7 layers
Hmm.
of tights,
Did you
fishnets.
say 7 layers?
7 layers.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
goodness.
know. Yeah. So imagine that. And I think
Hmm.
people forget that sometimes. We're wearing 7 layers of tights on top of padding,
Oh my
on top
gosh.
of tuck dicks.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's very uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable sport. Someone once told me if you're not uncomfortable doing drag, you're not doing it right. You need to be at least a little uncomfortable. And then after that, I proceed to put on whatever outfit I'm putting on
Hmm.
or I'm wearing, followed by my heels. And then lastly, I'll do my wig because I like to make sure I have everything on first. I've gotten
Hmm.
into really bad situations where I put my wig on first and then I'm putting on my outfit and it's some kind of like material that sticks to the wig.
Oh
And then I'm like
no.
struggling to put it on what's stuck to my wig and it's a big old mess. So I put on everything first and then my wig last. I've learned. And then my jewelry and my little final touches at the very end. And it usually takes about 2 hours, two and a half, three, depending on how much time I've been given to myself.
Wow, that's insane. That's a lot of work. So that's
It's a
not
lot.
something that you're like, oh, I have a gig in an hour. Let me get ready.
Yeah, no, no, no. I mean, again, I could do it, and sometimes, often I'll say, because I know I can do it, I'll do that to myself,
Hmm.
and I'll regret it because I'm like rushing, and I'm like, "Oh, why am I doing this? Why do I always do this to myself? Why do I always do this to myself? Why do I put myself in situations? I know I can do it, but damn."
So if somebody who is new to drag performing and they want or they're interested or curious about doing it, what is some advice that you would give them to kind of be their first step to get into this career?
I would say give yourself the time to really find yourself first. Again, I kind of just jumped into it and I jokingly said I wish I would have given myself more time, but I really, really do wish I had given myself more time just to like practice makeup, find out what it is I really want to do, if I even really want to do it. Because sometimes you just do it because
Hmm.
all your friends are doing it,
Yeah.
and I've seen it happen. People are kind of like peer pressured into doing it because everyone else is doing it, and they don't really care for it, and then they end up wasting their time. And
Mhm.
so, really take the time to find out who you are, who your drag persona is, if you have a drag persona, what you want to do with it, what style of performance you want to do, because there are so many different variations of drag nowadays. You can be a bearded queen if you want to go into
Hmm.
the pageant world and compete in the pageant scene. That's an option too. We have the alternative scene who has like their own little world, and there's so many different um, worlds within the drag community. I would say explore your options and find out where do you think you fit in.
Seen it on like on RuPaul's Drag Race. I've seen it in like
Mm,
various different drag shows that I've seen all over Southern California. There's, like you said, not one single type of drag. And I've
correct.
like there's comedy drag, there's like horror drag, there's like all like beauty, drag, they're all over the spectrum.
There's so many. Exactly. It's whatever I think you feel you identify with, you want to do. If you're someone like me, I try to do it all. And I
Hmm.
don't always succeed where I've tried something and it's not necessarily like my style, but I still give it a try because I think it's important to just be versatile.
Hmm.
But I try to. I always try to do something different, and I try to do something that's not normally within like my range of skills. I guess try new things and push yourself as a drag artist. You don't want to also just be just boxed in either. You know, you want to be able to say, "Oh yeah, I can do that if I need to." Oh yeah, if somebody books
Hmm.
me for I don't know, a Disney show, I can pull out some Disney numbers, even though I don't necessarily do Disney. If there's a Broadway night somewhere and somebody books me for that, I don't necessarily like Broadway,
Hmm.
and I'm a thespian. I know that sounds really bad, but I can pull out some Broadway numbers if I have to. I can pull out some Halloween numbers, even though it's not necessarily, different, whatever it is you're looking for.
Would you say is your pride and joy performance or your pride and joy like outfit that you're like, this was the best that I've done so far, and you're you look back on it and you're like, yeah, this is it.
Like favorite numbers. Oh, I have a few. Let's see. There's this one that well, one I just love the song. So every time I just
Hmm.
just hear, I get emotional. It's such a beautiful song. It's called "Disarm You" by Cascade. They make fun of me so much because I do it so much. My friends are like, "You need to hang that number up for like ever." It's like overplayed, but so good. I just love it so much. And just performing it is like I just feel like I'm on cloud nine because it's like a dancing number. It's high
Hmm.
energy. It's EDM, and I'm also like a raver. So it just feels the crowd loves it. It's a crowd pleaser. It's also a me pleaser. In drag, we usually say like we're doing one number for the crowd, one number for ourselves. This is like one of those songs that's like a mix of both. Um, that's one of my favorite numbers. We Appreciate Power by Grimes. I do it with like a robotic prosthetic mask and my Abraham Levy, which is this really, really amazing designer who makes stuff for like all the little girls and stuff. Corset that he made for me. And it's kind of like the song about how AI takes over the future. And it's just so like edgy and it's just so badass. I love that song so much. That's another one too. It just makes you so happy just hearing it. The second I hear that beat, I get into this mode where I feel so powerful. I don't know. I just love that song. That's one of my favorite numbers. Again, my friends make fun of me for it because I do it so much. Turn Me Out by Kathy Brown, like a high energy, old school drag song from like the early 2000s, I believe. It was using like all the pageant scenes every time there was a talent portion. Like all the pageant girls were doing this song. Just my last one. One that I do every year for Halloween was reminded of why I love it so much is my Evil Flying Monkey number, where I do a monkey from The Wizard of Oz. It's a mix. I start off with "You Don't Own Me," and I break the leash, set free, and I do "Chop Suey" by
Hmm.
System of a Down. And here I am performing the song as I've just been set free. I love it. That was
there's
it. I swear.
there's so much artistry that goes into it. And actually, I didn't see the performance, but I saw it on your Instagram, and I was like, that is freaking amazing. I saw the whole like aesthetic, and I was like, that's one of the things I was like, the detail that goes into that is amazing.
Thank you so much.
No, just jumping off of things and then going into splits. First of all, I'm like, how painful, and then two, how whimsical. It's just like you're amazed.
Whimsical.
You're amazed, but like at the same time, you're like, are they okay?
Is she okay? But I love that. I love freaking the crowd out. When in doubt, freak them out.
Right now, I really want to focus the unicorns in drag. So, what are some individuals that you would say make them unicorns that stand out from the other drag performers?
I would say the one that I considered my drag mother. Her name is Bougainvillea Thorns. Somebody who I would definitely consider unicorn because she does so much, not only for her drag house, her drag children, but for the community. She was working at a nonprofit for a very long time called Bienestar. I don't know if you've
Oh
heard of it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
The one in Pomona. She organized so many events just to raise awareness on it was about HIV and
Mm-hmm.
getting tested and know your status and being safe and having
Mm-hmm.
safe sex. It was also in the Imperial Court of Long Beach, I believe. So she did so many fundraisers and gave back to so many different charities and organizations, and that's so rare to see nowadays, especially because
Mm-hmm.
in drag you're there to make money for yourself. You don't really,
Mm-hmm.
you don't think about doing it for the people. So I think what she does is definitely rare and just beautiful. And she's also, like I said, just an amazing mentor, just an amazing queen. She does everything herself. She sews, she creates her own concepts. She's an amazing performer. Like the list goes on and on. There's a reason why I look up to her as like a drag mother. I would say she's definitely a unicorn in my eyes. Look at me, if you're hearing this, I love you.
That's wonderful. And I think that it is definitely unicorn qualities, because a lot of people think of drag performers as only drag performers, but out of drag they do something else. And either they do drag performing full time, or they have, like you said, like a day job or something, another passion that they do to kind of help out either the community or do whatever not. So I think that's amazing.
Other, just off the top of my head, some of my drag sisters, one named Kelly K that I host with on Tuesdays, who also has a day job like me. So she works like almost every day in the daytime and then has a show at night, and also sustains everything herself, and she does it well. Also has time to give back. We do this thing where we read to the children in drag. We call it our drag queen story
So
hour.
nice. Mm-hmm.
And we don't get paid or anything. It's all volunteer work. But we do it because it's fun. We love these kids. We've been seeing these kids grow up for years now. They love seeing us in drag. We love reading to them, as well as my other sis, scaling Onyx. And I just admire that. I think anybody who gives their time to do something like that for free, thinking about somebody else, I think that's just amazing.
And giving back to the community is always a big one. And reading to kids in drag not only shows that drag is cool, drag is normal, and you can make fun like reading a book, you know?
Yes, that's the best part. Making them laugh. Just making them laugh. We're just
Exactly.
clowns. We're just pretty clowns. That's all it is.
Where do these readings happen?
So we do these every month, like every other month, at Celador Bookstore in Riverside.
Okay.
It's a beautiful bookstore owned by the fabulous Miss Linda. Love her so much. She's been doing this with us for about 2 or 3 years now, and it's an amazing bookstore because they have all kinds of events like this throughout the year where they try to raise awareness and just do better for the community, specifically the LGBT community. So I just think they're an amazing company.
That's awesome. So we talked a little bit about other unicorns. So what do you think makes you a unicorn?
I guess I would say, in like a really effed up way, me being HIV positive and using my story to advocate for it is a quality that makes me a unicorn, right? Because I kind of turned like a bad situation into a good one, where now I use my story to raise awareness and spread positivity, no pun intended, on the topic.
Yes. I think that you are a unicorn. You are very special. So just from the things that I know,
thank you.
Just from the things that I know, you're putting yourself out there every single day. You're being vulnerable. You're showing your authentic self, and you're doing it proudly. And you're inspiring people every single day because you're showing them it's okay to be me. It's okay to be a performer. It's okay for me to put myself out there, regardless of what people are gonna say, good or bad. Just be me and killing it.
You got it.
Killing it every day. And I think that you just, even right now, for being vulnerable about your status, I think that's just amazing. It just shows how humble and how vulnerable you are with that. And just being able to talk about these type of conversations help spread the word, like you said, spread the positivity of it. There's so many negative stigmas on people who are HIV positive. You can live a regular, normal life, a healthy life, even if you are positive. Just you have to make sure that you're checked, you make sure that you are getting on your medication, and knowing the difference between like having a viral load or not, or that your T cell count. I don't even know the whole words, but I know that there's a whole thing with that. There's a whole science in there.
Yeah. There is.
But
it's true.
There's a lot about that. Not that this wasn't our main topic, but just so listeners who maybe are ignorant on the topic. So what does it mean to kind of like be positive, HIV positive?
So to be HIV positive and be undetectable, which is what I have, it means that your blood count is so low that you have no way of transmitting it. So you often see the symbol U equals U, which means undetectable, means untransmittable. So there's no physical way for me to pass it on to someone, not even my own offspring, which is also a misconception. I think people, even that have talked to me, used to think that because you have it, you can't have kids, or your kid would have it, or you pass it on to your partner. I've been with my boyfriend for 2.5 years now. He gets tested regularly. He's negative, and I think that's just proof is in the pudding. Exhibit A. you can have a normal, healthy relationship with someone who's negative just because you're
Mm-hmm.
positive. Like I said, as long as you keep your medications and you take your pills every day, you get your blood work done to make sure the medication's still working every 6 months, you're good. That's part of the reason why I wanted to share my story to begin with, because when I first got diagnosed, well, one, I didn't know much on the topic. So
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of blindsided. I thought my life was over. I thought nobody would ever want to date me. I thought I was going to die. Like, I thought the worst of the worst of the worst. And I wish I would have had someone to just refer to, somebody to look up to, somebody to just give me a little hope. At the time, I didn't know that Angina from RuPaul's Drag Race was like an
Mm-hmm.
advocate for it. I wasn't really into like the drag race fandom like that, so I didn't really explore my options. But there actually are a lot of people in our community that have shared their story, and for the longest time, I kind of like hid it, and I was ashamed because I didn't know how the world was going to accept me for it, let alone myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally accepted myself and I said, you know what, this is the reality. This is it. I can't change it. I can only choose to accept it and let it make me be a better person, or I'm gonna let it destroy me. So 2 years ago, I decided to disclose my status and I shared my story. I made a performance as well. You can find it in one of my videos where I talk about what happened. I pretty much shared all the details of my story.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, I had so much love and support from the community. I didn't even know, like, I wasn't even prepared for like the amount of love that I got. I really wasn't. I was so scared. And then the scary part was there were so many people that reached out to me that have it, that were like, I never in a million years thought that you would have it. You make me feel so much better about me having it. One person told me that they felt like they had like a purpose to live again because they saw that I was like a drag queen and that I seemed successful, like I'm doing fine. And they said watching you and just seeing you and share your story made me feel like I can live a normal life again too. And that's all I wanted. That's all I could have ever asked for. If I could have just reached one person, say, hey, it's okay, look at me, I'm doing fine. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. You can do it too.
That is why you're a unicorn. You are inspiring people every day. You're changing people's lives. That's what unicorns are. They're individuals that are meant to change and inspire people every single day. And you're doing this like by sharing your story, by performing, and you even just mentioned like proof is in the pudding, using your own words, and those individuals that reached out to you. And I think that's amazing. And you are showing people that it is normal and it does happen, but we can still live a very regular lifestyle and a healthy lifestyle. And there's so many different things that people assume when it comes to being HIV positive, like the thing that you can give it to your offspring or that your partner can get it, but there's things as PEP and PrEP and all of these different things, and then rapid tests that you can consistently get checked, and practicing safe sex as well, and being responsible. We all have needs, we all have urges, God knows, and that's what Grindr's are for. But you have to be responsible.
Exactly.
You have
You're
to be
responsible.
responsible. Exactly. And then if it does happen, it's not the end of the world. There's always choice.
Exactly.
There's choices. There's options as long as you seek out help.
And you will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You will be okay. My doctor says I'm the healthiest I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
I go to because of that. I started going to the gym. I started working out. So it kind of pushed me to be
Mm-hmm.
actually. Fun fact is, people that are positive tend to have a healthier lifestyle than the average person because they're aware of their status. So they tend to take care of themselves a little more. That was kind of like what happened with me. You know.
It pushes you because that means that you value life, and it pushes you to want to keep going forward. This is not the 1970s or the 1980s anymore, where things happen. We progress so much, especially even now with everything that's going on with COVID. There's a lot new
Mm-hmm.
different methods and tests that they're looking for with HIV that potentially we can have a vaccine that they're even talking about. So
I know.
it's in the horizon, and it's amazing. And I think we're gonna get there. It's just
I agree.
little by little, but we have to be responsible with it. We need to be honest. And I think one of the things that, because I know several people who are HIV positive in my life, who are close friends of mine, and one of the biggest things is just be honest about your status and
Mm-hmm.
get checked, and also just check, because one of the biggest things is you don't know you need the help unless you get checked.
Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes people are going around spreading it, not even knowing they have it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reality, you know. You could show no symptoms and be walking around with it, you
Exactly.
know, like as we speak. So just hashtag know your status, get tested, and just be safe.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for sharing that and for being so vulnerable with
Of
us,
course.
and also for, doing the amazing things that you're doing and both drag and advocacy and everything overall. So once again, true unicorn right there.
Thank you so much. That's sweet. I appreciate that.
I think we touched a little bit about this, but what do you think is the biggest challenge or life lesson that you have faced so far?
I think overcoming the HIV for sure has been the biggest obstacle. On top of other things that I've been dealing with, that I have dealt with, I would say being homeless, being kicked out by my family because they found that I was gay and a drag queen at the same time. And in a Mexican household, that's like the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much on my own. I've pretty much been on my own since then. Haven't spoke to my dad since. It's been like 6 years. We have no relationship, no desire to. Being thrown into the world can be scary,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you feel like you're alone. And when I was diagnosed, I was alone. Like I didn't even tell my friends. I was so scared, you know. But I think just overcoming that made me feel like I can overcome anything because I did it by myself. And if I can do it with no help from anybody and say that, and I'm so successful and I'm still here and I'm doing what I'm doing and doing it well, and I think there's hope for anybody.
Thank you for sharing that. It's hard. It's hard. I also experienced the same thing when I was gay. When I came out to my family.
You're like, I'm straight now.
I know, right? Oh no. Never. My life would not be as interesting for sure. No. No. When I came out, my parents they kicked me out of my home. I was living in college and my dorm I was kicked out of my dorm room because
Oh my God.
I was in charge of the dorm. My manager was homophobic, kicked me out, and I was homeless living in my car. So I definitely understand that struggle. It is not easy. And actually, it was a drag performer that helped me out, that helped me let me stay in their room. I went to VIP, my very first bar, and there was a person there. I don't remember. It was just like a one-time thing. And she just let me stay in her couch because she saw me and we talked, and I told her my situation and she helped me out. So I have such a passion, such a dear and near in my heart, because drag queens, drag performers are the best people in the world, honestly. You guys have the biggest hearts, and I owe everything to you guys for sure.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's dope. That's dope. I love to hear that. I think yeah, because for most of us, like we probably been through the same thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, we are still part of the same community. We experience the same struggles. You know, differences. We just have wigs on and makeup on.
Mm-hmm. You guys
And I don't.
look fierce and like
We're
slay every day.
just doing it. Some of us, some more than others. But no, I I think it's scary, but it's the truth. A lot of us experience the same things. I didn't know that about you. But the fact that it's such a common thing too, I think that's so fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucked up, but that's the reality. You know, that's the world we live in.
The more we talk about it, and people wouldn't know. Like, you see these people that are just living their regular lives, but you wouldn't know
Yeah,
that they had these struggles. They wouldn't know that they're HIV positive, that they gone through homelessness, that they've gone through drug addiction, or whatever it may be. All of these things are unfortunately so common in our community,
yeah,
and we
they
just don't.
are.
We see people on the street and they assume, oh, that's them. But no, we get past it. We become, we get out of it. We survive, and we're success stories in that sense. We're unicorns.
Exactly. We use it to make ourselves and make other people's lives better.
If you can give one piece of
But
advice to our listeners, and this is the thing that you want to stick, what would it be?
just be yourself. Do what you want to do. Live your life. Don't listen to anybody else but yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's your life, and you only have one life to live, and it could be taken at any second. And
Mm-hmm.
then, what do you have then? You're gonna be filled with regret and all these woulda, coulda, shoulda. And we only have one life to live, so just do it the way you want to. Fuck society. Fuck what you think you're told. Fuck whatever you hear.
Mm-hmm.
Do what makes you happy, and as long as you're happy, that's all that matters.
Thank you so much, and I love this interview. Thank you so much for the vulnerability. Thank you for being you, and thank you for killing it once again. If our listeners want to follow you and your work and want to see a show, where can they like find more deets about you?
Follow me on Instagram. I have my drag account at Athena Kills official. All one word because I officially kill it every time. Follow me on Facebook. Same thing, Athena Kills. Or my boy page. They're linked to the same one, so it's either or Jovani Morales or just Athena Kills. I have a boy account too. If you guys want to follow like a fitness account, lifestyle, gym progression page. I try to keep it separate from my drag because I don't like to mix the both. I keep my like art separate from like my, I guess, my daily life. So if you'd like to find out more about Jovani, follow me at I am Fury X. That's IAMFURYX, as well as Athena Kills official. All of them. Thank you.
Just follow all the accounts. Just follow everything.
Follow me. Follow me. And I have the unfollow app. So fair warning to anybody out there that does decide to follow me. If you unfollow me, it's gonna tell me, and I will know. So you have been warned.
Love it. Well, thank you so much. This has been a really big treat, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. Stay beautiful. I hope we talk again soon, and I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. You guys have a unicorn day.
and and until next time, I hope everybody has a wonderful night. And until next episode, thank you.